Let's get right down to it. It's time for your reality check. I didn't want to waste any time because America, I'm getting unhinged. Yes, indeed, America, it's true. I'm reading it. People ask me why. So first, let's put the book here. We'll talk about it in a minute. So let me say this, and I said this a little bit on my Instagram live if you watched yesterday, or if you watched earlier this week. Let me start by saying this. I'm not the biggest fan of Omarosa. I think, on the record, my quote is, I don't have no time for Omarosa. And that is correct. I don't have time for Omarosa. But I believe everybody's story deserves the time of day. As much as I don't have time for Omarosa, I think her story, because there's evidence and because there's facts to back it up, deserves the time of day. Now, here's the thing. My mom has an interesting quote to say. She's like, a woman scorned is the worst. She's like, a black woman scorned is uniquely worse. And here, what we have, and I am halfway through this book, is a black woman scorned. And a black woman who is, I guess, trying to tell her truth. Now, I'm not sure how much of this book is true. But what I can say is that from my reading and my recollection, I'm going to read some excerpts that I've talked about of the book. Omarosa, to me, seems to be relatively, she has most of her stuff well documented. Very well documented. She kept meticulous records. Let's get to it. Let's not waste any time. So here's the reason why I decided to read the book. So I read the prologue. I got an excerpt from the prologue online, and I said, this is a good book. Like, this prologue is good. So I decided that I would, purchase the book. So here's the part that I want to read, because I think this story begins when the White House decided to fire Omarosa. So here's what we know right now. There is no senior White House staff that is an African American. For the first time in the past 50 years, there is not a black person who has a senior staff, like title or above, currently working in the White House of the United States of America. Fact. Not opinion, not fake news, fact. Omarosa, according to the reports of the White House, was terminated because of according to folks at the White House and according to speculation, there was a huge fight between Omarosa at the Christmas party. Then she tripped the alarm to try to get to the residence, to talk to President Trump. And that's the White House's story. And then she was escorted and dragged out the building by Secret Service. Now, the point Omarosa has made over and over again is there are no pictures. Now, I'm pretty sure if Omarosa getting dragged out the building by Secret Service during the Christmas party with 300 or 400 people in attendance, somebody would have took a photo. The White House would have documented it to make their point. So what we learned this week in a tape released by Omarosa is actually the truth, that Omarosa was terminated in the Situation Room. Now, I want to read this bit of the book because I found it to be very interesting. In the Situation Room, with Kelly now gone, I turned to the lawyers, dying to hear what the significant infractions were. One of them said to me, "We found that you abused the car service." The car service? As a commissioned officer, I had the use of the car service for official business. Additionally, I lived in Penn Quarter, which is 10 to 15-minute walk from my office. I mostly Ubered or walked back and forth between home and work nearly every day. And I had the daily Uber and Fitbit logs to prove it. We understand that you took the car service to a Washington Nationals game for personal use, one lawyer said, looking smug. I looked like I was busted. What date was that? June 15th, he said. I checked my calendar. That was the date of the congressional baseball game. That was certainly official business. The game was an annual charity event, of particular importance this year because House Majority Whip Steve Scalise and 3 others were shot by a deranged man at a practice the day before. And we wanted to come out in force in honor of him and show unity between the parties. Half the White House had government cars there. Kellyanne Conway, Steve Mnuchin, Gary Cohn, Ivanka Trump, and her kids were there too. I hadn't been to the Nationals game since since I'd been back in DC. And the only time I went to Nationals Park was on that day. The White House lawyers looked back and forth at one another cluelessly, like the Three Stooges. It's like the first time they were hearing about this. It just didn't make sense. I never received a warning or notification. During my entire tenure in the Trump White House, I'd never heard of anyone taken to task over car service trips, and certainly not in the Situation Room with the Chief of Staff. Now I'm going to skip a page where she goes on to say, wait, here we go. When they're really coming after me for a totally legitimate car ride, mind you, Secretary Steve Mnuchin used a private jet to the tune of nearly $1 million taxpayer dollars. Had just been given the okay by the Inspector General in the Treasury Department. Scott Pruitt, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, spent upwards of $3 million on a 19-man security team, and he still had his job. Several months after I'd left, Ben Carson got to keep his job after he ordered a $31,000 dining table. I see a long line of White House appointee official vehicles at the same event, and I'm in violation, not anyone else. This is why I kept records of every trip and meeting and asked for guidance on travel. I want to go one by one through this. I kept detailed logs. I'm ready for it. I'm prepared. These are the words of Omarosa Marigold Newman. America, this young woman, whether you like her or not, has receipts. She has receipts. This exchange was on tape. So whether you agree with Omarosa or not, whether you think she's a psychopath or not, whether you like her or not, is irrelevant. Because the facts back up what Omarosa is saying, because she's right. We here on this show have covered the indiscretions of the Environmental Protection Agency administrator. We've covered the indiscretions of Secretary Steve Mnuchin. We've covered the indiscretions of Ben Carson. But when it comes to this particular black woman and her use of the car service, even though she's a commissioned officer, that was why they say they were firing her. I'm not a fan of Omarosa, but America, Omarosa in Unhinged has receipts. Now here is where you know. Like I said, I don't know what's true and what's not true. I can't answer these questions for you because I don't know. But here's what we do know. We know that this White House traffics in lies. We do. That's a fact. They traffic in lies. Michelle Obama used to say, when they go low, we go high. The Trump administration, they say, when they go low, we go to the gutter. We go down deep in the gutter. We crawl in the gutter. We creep in the gutter. We rub our bellies in the gutter. And that's why we're here. If the Trump administration actually operated in truths, this book would mean nothing. What Omarosa said in Unhinged would not make news. She'd be another Trump administration official that released a book. Remember Sean Spicer's book? Nobody's talking about that. That didn't have 7 days of news. Nobody cared. But the White House's response to this book is interesting. The White House, the President of the United States, called Omarosa a dog. Kellyanne Conway called her a disgruntled employee. People have called White House surrogates, have called her a psychopath. They've called her crazy. Katrina Pearson, in an interview with my colleague at Fox News, Ed Henry, was caught lying, trying to cover up the White House's mess because Omarosa had receipts. I'm not defending Omarosa. Omarosa has done a lot of damage to a lot of people. But the truth of the matter here is the truth is getting to rear its ugly head. And America, that truth might be on the back of this book.